Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Big Discussions 76. Cynical Optimist, salute to you for being the first one in. You were in here before the stream even started. I know a bunch of people are over on the Master Teachers channel, so I don't know what time he's gonna wind it down. I see some folks coming in, but I wanted to go ahead and get started because I'm about my personal health now. In Spanish, that's salud personal. Oh, I almost forgot my mic. Almost forgot my co-pilot here. This should be here. All right. So I'm about the personal health right now. We just had a nice stream yesterday. I thought it was a nice stream on the erectile dysfunction medication, Rose Sparks. Those of you who are on YouTube quite a bit, you see commercials for Rose Sparks and hymns. So over on my STEM channel, for those of you who don't know about the STEM channel, it's called Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. So over there, I talk nothing but science. A lot of times today, it's science news and science commentary on current events. But and I pick the topics out of what's going on, unless I have a guest. What's going on in culture and society. And on Thursday, I was thinking that it would be a good idea to talk about Rose Sparks because I'm seeing those commercials all the time. For men, erectile dysfunction and premature ejaculation is a big thing. It can be in relationships, and I gave some, but it's highly nuanced because one of the arguments that I made in that stream was that your sexual performance oftentimes is directly related to the partner that you have and the partner that you're playing with and dancing with. So a lot of times, I'm going to start the stream here soon, guys, but a lot of times it's, the man is not doing this. The man can't perform. He's got anxiety. And sometimes that's true. But a lot of times the partner that you have counts for a lot. It counts for a lot. Okay, guys. So salute to Cynical Optimist. Salute to Money Motion. Peace to you in the desert. I look forward to potentially hanging out again sometime in the desert or someplace else. And Red Pill Sleeper Cell, thank you for being here. Let me give you a wrench because I've seen you, and I think you're a trustworthy individual. So we're live over there. There is the ad. And thank you to those of you who gave me the likes before the stream started. Those are always appreciated. So Red Pill Sleeper Cell, you now have a wrench over here. All right. So let me play the intro and then we'll jump in, and we're going to have a bit of a movie night. The first video is going to be something involving more grandparents raising grandchildren than the actual parents today. And the second video is going to be a Passport OG special. And I think we're going to do another El Haj interlude just for shits and giggles. So I'll see you guys on the other side of the intro. Let me know what you think in the comment section about any of this. This is my Curtis Schoon intro. I love this. There are no political solutions for cultural deficiencies. So, where did this topic come from? So I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information.
That we will rush to finish things that are important so we could do things that are not. And I believe it's an immaturity there. People just don't understand that, life isn't about having fun all the time. You have to have fun sometimes. I agree. But as an adult, there's time where you have to just say, okay, listen, I got to get down to work right now. And I don't think enough of us value that time or really understand the fruits of that labor. Somehow we think things are just going to be without that kind of effort. And culturally, there's a deficiency there. That's why I always say that there's no political solution for cultural deficiencies.
So, where did this topic come from? So, I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Discussions 76, my original channel. Please like, share, and subscribe. I don't know why on some of my channels, YouTube has peeled away some of my subs, or maybe people just became unhappy and unsubbed. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. And that intro was with Curtis Schoon of Schoon TV. He came here once and we talked. I hope to have him come back. He has his own app. And over the last couple of weeks, he's been streaming on his YouTube channel as well. I've shared those over here to some degree. Yeah, I love that quote. There are no political solutions for cultural deficiencies. Speaking of guests, those of you who are my subs, you know that I have 2 big guests coming up in the next 3 weeks, and I'm prepping for those right now. So on October 19th, I've got Dr. Ronald Neal, and we're going to talk about this book, Beyond Death and Jail. Okay, anti-Blackness, Black masculinity, and the demonic imagination. There's a lot in this book, and I almost feel like, you know, some interviews are pretty just straightforward, but Dr. Neal really put his foot in this book. I don't know if you guys know the term. They put their foot in this meal. You put your foot in this meal. That means you really prepared a nice meal. But he really put his heart and soul into this book, and there is a lot in here. So I'm really having to think about how I'm going to ask, what I'm going to ask, without going through everything, because it'll take us a while to go through everything. But Dr. Neal just put a lot in here. So I have Dr. Neal coming to talk about his book. And I think some of what we're going to talk about tonight dovetails into this. And then the week after that, I have Jeff St. James, the godson. So he's going to come here, and I'm getting questions together for him as well. He and I have to agree. I think we're going to have to talk ahead of time and agree, like I do with most guests. But I do want to make this interactive. So if there are things, Jeff has made the rounds. He's interviewed many people. Many people have interviewed him. So if there are things, you guys, now I can't guarantee that your suggestions will make it into the interview, because me and Jeff, we only have an hour and a half. We have a set amount of time. I'll just be discreet about that. I don't want to talk about all the behind the scenes details. We have a discrete amount of time. We have a set amount of time. So if you guys think there are questions you want me to ask Jeff St. James or talk to him about, if you reach out to me, I'll consider them, because I have some myself. And of course, support for that show will be very helpful. So most of you guys know how to find me. I'm on social media. I'm on, you can find me at that email address there. I'm on X. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok now, though I'm still figuring out how to use it. So if you guys have, things you think you might want to hear in that convo, feel free to present them. And obviously during the discussion, you can super chat things. But I will be watching the clock, because I have Jeff for just a set amount of time. Peace to T. Ridla. T. Ridla, thank you for being here. We're going to watch your video, the one we talked about. Our Oscar-winning director from the American Film Institute, Passport OG, he's here. And then Ray Alexander has entered the building. I'm sure, Ray Alexander, you will have a lot to say about at least the first video tonight, and potentially my discussions with Ronald Neal, Dr. Ronald Neal, and Jeff St. James. So guys, tonight's topic. So we're going to talk about more grandparents raising grandchildren, and Passport OG features Dr. Warren Farrell. So as a setup for this, I don't want to waste too much time, but you want to think about the generations. This is something I'm fascinated with. This is something I think that each of us are dealing with. This weekend, I'm going to check on a parent, my father in particular, and so there are going to be some discussions, maybe some uncomfortable ones, but with between the generations, there's often friction because the world changes, and the world that the elder generations grew up in. You're seeing this all over YouTube now. This is completely different, not just the technology, but gender, society, culture, how we're all relating to each other, how people are mating, how women are mating, the choices they're making. Everything is different. And so if everything is different, can you expect the same outcomes that you had 50, 60, 70 years ago? I don't think so. I don't think so. So with that, let's jump into the first video. I think this one is going to resonate with T. Riddler. T. Riddler shared that he actually has a personal connection to this one. Maybe some of you do too. Okay. And before I start this, there's a bit of a culture here for the new people who are coming in. When I interview Dr. Neal and when I interview Jeff, we have a culture here. I'm a joker, so a lot of times when I post videos on my community tab, I tag T. Riddler because we troll each other. That's a culture here. So it's just if you see that, we're just doing that out of fun. All right. So on this channel, I get a lot of general stuff, a lot of general news and coverage, and this one comes from CBS New York. CBS New York. Okay, there's a lot happening in New York right now with their mayor in particular, and some would say New York City is spinning out of control. Money Motion, thank you for the super chat. I don't know if I acknowledged this, but thank you. He says for the love of the game. So if I'm doing this twice, forgive me. All right, grandparents raising children more so than ever before. And one thing we're seeing is that grandmothers are now younger and younger. Grandmothers look a lot different than they did years ago. Okay? If you guys resonate with this,
more and more grandparents are raising their grandchildren.
If you guys resonate with this, let me know. All right, here we go. Fair use, fair use.
More and more grandparents are raising their grandchildren for over the past decade, and with it comes challenges, especially housing and support. Here in New York, there's a special housing complex that helps grand families, as they're known, meet those challenges. Jennifer Bisram shows us how in this Cost of Caregiving report. You sure?
Yeah. In the kitchen with Rosalie Winter and her 13-year-old granddaughter, Aaliyah.
That's why you cover it.
Cooking is one of many things the 77-year-old grandma has been teaching her while raising her.
At first, when she was much younger, it was harder because I have to take her to the babysitter, goes to work, pick her up.
Winter became Aaliyah's caregiver when she was in her 60s. Aaliyah was just 6 months old.
I didn't realize it was so much. I was always saying, I don't know how long I can do this.
Many seniors like Winter have been taking on a second act of parenting after losing a child to death, addiction, or incarceration.
So death, okay, you can't do anything about that. Addiction, okay, and incarceration. Okay, some would argue So this lady was West Indian. She is West Indian. Shout out to Kareen. I don't know where Kareen is. But many would argue that something happened between the boomer generation, Gen X, the millennials, and everyone after in terms of becoming solid, productive adults and contributors to society. So that addiction and incarceration, that stood out to me. But we also know that at some point, traditional family structures started to fray. Okay, Dr. Ronald Neal, particularly in the Black community, Dr. Ronald Neal talks about that in his book, and the argument could be made that there were political and societal choices that led to grandparents having to raise their grandchildren. Okay, fair use, fair use.
In Aaliyah's case, her mother battled drug addiction when Aaliyah was born. Aaliyah was placed in foster care as an infant until her grandma, who she now calls mommy, stepped in.
She's always here for me. And she's always there for important times.
According to the American Society on Aging, over 2 million grandparents across the country are primary caregivers to their grandchildren. In New York State, there are over 120,000 grandparents who are the kinship caregivers. And here in New York City, about 250,000 children are being raised by relatives, mainly grandparents. Aaliyah and her grandmother have been living in a grandparent family apartment in the Bronx for over 2 years. It's a 50-unit building designed specifically for grandfamilies with a social worker on site 24/7. Shalonda Reed is the building manager.
At this point in your life, you're not supposed to be parenting. You're supposed to be enjoying life. And it's hard to raise a child at that stage in your life.
The Westside Federation for Seniors and Supportive Housing is the organization behind the program, which is financed through public and private funding. It was started in 2005, and the building that houses grandfamilies is still the only one of its kind in the 5 boroughs.
How do you look at a senior or a child in need of something and you don't help? That's hard to do.
Advocates say more living spaces, financial support, and resources are needed to take care of the growing grandfamily population.
So according to this, that population is growing. Okay, now I do have peers who were raised by their grandmother, their grandparents, and many consider those their actual parents. So I think an interesting question is, what's the deal with their biological parents? Where are their biological parents? Were their biological parents prepared to be parents, or did something else happen along the way? Okay, did these grandparents adequately prepare their children to be parents? Okay, there are a lot of questions here. And this, according to this is growing. This is a growing phenomenon. Fair use, fair use.
Is there help for grandparents who are caregivers?
It is, but you have to go out there, and it's not as plentiful as it should be. The social workers here will help them get the children enrolled in school, also with medical benefits, medical doctors themselves, finding the services that they might need.
The building is more than an address. It's a home with shared stories and helping hands.
Because I know I'm not alone in this situation.
The grandparent as well as the child still see the family unit together somewhat. You know, they get that love.
Back in their Bronx apartment, spoken like a true grandma from the Caribbean.
The difficulty is just to let you listen and understand what life is all about.
But Winter shares her granddaughter is also starting to take care of her.
If I tell her to do something, she'll do it. At night, she will say, Grandma, why don't you go lay down? Why don't you go sleep?
Aaliyah says her grandmother has been her guiding light.
If you guys look at that, you notice grandma knows how to cook, and grandma is teaching her how to cook. So you wonder, okay, so the girl's mother, her biological mother, is an addict. You wonder if grandma taught her daughter, the girl's mother, how to do all of that. You wonder what happened to the mother. Okay, Andre says, number one, I'm Caribbean, as well as my mom is currently taking care of one of my sisters and her daughter, SMH. There's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of things going on. And he says she sounds Jamaican. Yeah, my ear is not trained enough to decipher who's from Jamaica, who's from Trinidad, who's from Barbados, who's from the other brown skin countries, English speaking countries. All right, let's go. Let's finish. Fair use, fair use.
What has given you the strength to take care of Aaliyah all these years?
Just pray and have faith. If I'm not around, whatever I teach her, can carry her through.
Caregiving across generations. Jennifer Bisram, CBS News, New York.
Jennifer covers aging and caregiving. If you have a story or a program for her to look into, scan the QR code on the screen. And for Grant Family Resources and for Jennifer's previous reporting on the cost of caregiving, head over to our website, cbsnewyork.com. Such great reporting there by Jennifer.
Great reporting.
All right, do you guys have thoughts on that? Grand families. Grand families. Is that the way this was all supposed to go? Now, what I will say is this, and I'm not going to mention any names. What I will say is that in my own personal circle, and I'll probably share this with my family so they'll know who I'm talking about. But in my own personal circle, I do see boomers raising grandchildren. And I think one of the reasons is the girls, the mothers, were not prepared to be mothers. They did not get married. Okay, they became mothers by accident. Okay, no judgment for those of you who are saying you're engaging in misogyny. Okay, no judgment, but it seems as though these mothers, okay, became mothers by accident. Okay, they didn't marry the guys, and either they have to work all the time, they're addicted to something, they weren't prepared to be mothers, and then those children are fortunate that there are grandparents around who actually care. Okay, because if there weren't grandparents around who didn't actually care, those children would be screwed. They'd be in foster care, they'd be out on the street, they'd be they'd be between a rock and a hard place. So but these grandparents, the heads of these grand families, they're not gonna always be here. Okay, so if this cycle continues to spiral the way it is, where is this all going to lead? I don't know. You guys, please smash that like button. Please consider subscribing if you are not subscribed. A quick, we're going to do another El Haj interlude, and then we're going to get to the main event, which is Passport OG's video on Dr. Warren Farrell. So we're going to go with a little bit of comedy. I didn't get whacked for this last week. But this is a comedy team. They do shorts. I enjoy their shorts. El Haj, he's funny. All of his actresses are very stunning, especially this woman here. And then we will look at Passport OG's video on the other side. Hold on. I hope you guys are having. Whoa, Andre says, careful, BGS got shut down live. What do you mean? You mean his stream got taken down? Is that what you mean, Andre? Because of the video he was featuring? Okay, either way, let's keep going. Hopefully that doesn't happen here. Okay, Passport OG on the other side, I promise. Give me a second here. I want these bars to go away. All right, fair use, fair use. Shout out to El Haj and his gang.
Where did you go?
Huh?
Where did you go?
Oh, nowhere.
But you weren't here, so
Yeah, but I ain't really going nowhere.
where were you?
Look, I don't really want to tell you.
Why?
Because you like very judgmental. Every time I tell you something that I'm doing that you don't agree with or you feel like you wouldn't do, you be looking at me funny. So I don't want to tell.
No, I haven't been doing that. Just tell me.
No, I told you, you're very judgmental. You do that.
Okay, let's do the thing that people are doing on TikTok then. We listen and we don't judge.
But you don't listen and you do judge.
Just try. Come on.
I went to the homie Chris' place.
Mm.
You see that judgmental look.
No, I'm not doing that. So what were you doing there?
I was actually doing him a favor.
Oh, okay. Well, there's no dogs that are coming to this house.
And I'm not bringing a dog here.
What was the favor then?
He's not even here right now, okay? He's in Jamaica, and I had to take his dog to the vet.
What's that?
The vet.
Who is the vet?
You know, the hospital for animals?
So you're telling me you took a dog to the hospital?
Yeah.
So when I tell you to take me to the hospital, you can't take me, but you're going to take dogs to hospitals.
This is funny because usually, you know, around here in DC, I mean, you see a lot of dog owners here in DC, but it's often the woman who has the dog. So he was anyway, let's finish this up. This is very quick. Fair use, fair use.
I'm not taking dogs to the hospital. I just took his dog to the hospital.
You can't be serious. This is madness. What is it with you with these dogs?
You see, you're doing the whole judgment thing. You're not listening, but you're judging.
No, this is something very different. You're talking about taking dogs to the hospital. What is it with these dogs? Mara, today you're taking a dog to the hospital. The next day you want to adopt a dog. The other day you want to do something else with the dog. What is this?
Why are you making it sound like a creep? Like I'm not doing nothing with no dog.
No, it sounds like you have some kind of fetish or something. Do you have a fetish for dogs?
I don't even know why I talk to you. Like, you see what I'm saying? You're judging right now.
I'm not judging. I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out if you're even an African because there's no bone in your body that screams like you're an African. Aish. When you see a dog as an African, you throw a rock. You want to lick it.
All right. Just a little interlude there. All right, now for the main event. Shout out to Dr. Thunder. Shout out to the El Haj crew. I guess all of them are African. I guess even he's African. I think that woman is gorgeous. But all right. So Passport OG in his vast library, you know, I know I say he created a video that resonated with me, and they all resonate with me these days. But this one featured Dr. Warren Farrell, who is on the thumbnail for this live stream. Are you all out there familiar with Dr. Warren Farrell? Yes, no, maybe. Are you all familiar with Dr. Warren? Hold on. Is anybody there familiar with Dr. Warren Farrell? Okay. And Passport OG, salute to him. He found video of Dr. Warren Farrell, I think on Oprah. So back during the 80s, and he was going toe to toe with a feminist about gender relations and dating and where all of the feminist ideology is going to take dating, and it's going to take everybody. So you know what? Just for completeness, for the people who don't know, because I know if I share this with my family, they probably won't know. Dr. Warren Farrell. Google saves everything. Okay, this is Dr. Warren Farrell. Dr. Warren Farrell, he's been advocating for boys for, he apparently is a former feminist. himself, and he saw where things were going. And I think he jumped ship because he saw where things were going. He saw the imbalance that was coming. He saw the damage that was coming, and he jumped ship. So this is Dr. Warren Farrell. He wrote The Boy Crisis. I think I cited this in my book. Yeah. So yeah, these are all books that I want to read now. The Boy Crisis, The Myth of Male Power. The Myth of Male Power. Okay. Why Men Are the Way They Are. Okay, this is another one I want to read. Why Men Earn More. So that's debunking the gender pay gap. And then Role Mate to Soulmate. And then Women Can't Hear What Men Don't Say. So he's been at this for a while. And Passport OG, once again, made a very, very brilliant video highlighting Mr. Farrell and asking an important question about society, culture, and where things are going. I often call Passport OG an anthropologist. He's very much that because he's capturing our modern culture and the degrees to which it's spinning out of control. I think we're going to discuss elements of this in Dr. Neal's book, particularly the fate of Black boys and what Black boys have been dealing with since probably the 1970s. Okay, this is going to dovetail with that. And then I talked about this book a while ago, Men at Work by Nicholas Eberstadt. I think this is also going to relate to this book and why so many prime-aged working men are falling out and have fallen out of the labor force. Okay, so these are all things that are coming to head in society right now. So without further ado, let's watch this beautiful production by Passport OG. Fair use, fair use. We'll close. Yep, bring that up. Do that. And on with our now to our feature presentation. Just get rid of those bars. All right. Turn on the sound.
So you recycle.
Well,
the Battle of the Somme in World War I, SOMME, 1 million people were killed or injured in one battle. And so this is the type of understanding of male sacrifice and male disposability that has not been honored by feminists. You know, I've never heard of a feminist saying we really need to sort of pray with thanks for the men who have died so we can live.
That I thought if I worked hard enough, I could have equality with men in my career, or I could have equality with my husband at home. They weren't true in reality. And when I started looking at the data, I realized that this wasn't just me. The problems that we were facing were structural. And that's what inspired me to want to share the solutions then that were also coming out of the research that I was doing with more people.
We should stop marrying men, according to the data. This professor says we're dating all wrong, that women are interviewing men as boyfriends rather than life partners. This leaves us stuck with junior employees of the household rather than co-CEOs. Corinne Lowe used to be married to a man. Now she's married to a woman. After her divorce, she crunched the numbers and decided that it would be more efficient to only date women. As a professor at Wharton, she's encouraging women to think like an economist when it comes to picking the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. We should see dating as a market, marriage as a contract, and children as a public good. We should see our time as having almost economic value, which we should spend carefully. This is an economist's evidence-based approach to happiness.
Guys, how about that? Any thoughts on that particular part of it? So she had a husband, left her husband, and she married another woman, and she thinks marriage should be women should have an economist based thinking for marriage. What do you guys think about that? Fair use, fair use. Please smash that like button on the way in. And let me know what you think about any of this.
And you lived the transition from what you thought was sort of a righteous, empowering version of feminism to this to something that I would consider quite toxic.
Yeah, and I remember, the beginning of feminism was exactly what I wanted for women, which was you heard constantly, "I am woman, I am strong," the Helen Reddy song, and it went from "I am woman, I am strong" to "I am woman, I've been wronged."
You guys, of course, know that I'm a big fan of Warren Farrell. He's speaking here about in the beginning when he was a staunch feminist. He liked the environment that feminism found itself in, where it was empowering women to make choices that would shape their lives. But he saw that evolve into something that basically turned women into victims, no matter how you slice the cake. And he basically was canceled because he had views that were not very convenient with that movement. And he talks about the sacrifice, the expectation of male sacrifice, that men are disposable. That's gone nowhere. And so now sometimes you hear young ladies say simply,
Some guys are complaining. I would really like for you to think about the fact that men used to get shipped off to Vietnam at 17. And now your guys' biggest problems are Zyn flavors, drinking, and sports that you're not even taking part in.
"I am woman, I've been wronged," and and that did create victim power. There was, we have, for example, the men die earlier than women do in 14 out of 15 of the leading causes of death, and yet we have 8 federal offices of women's health and 0 federal offices of men's health. So the victim stance did create a type of victim power. But when people play the role of victim, you don't really respect them. And I want women to be respected, and I think we all do. And so it was like I felt they were undermining the respect, and they were also doing something else that was very damaging. In schools, I have talked to many, many college students and high school students, and they often say that I learned in junior high school that men are part of the patriarchy. That is, and the patriarchy makes rules to benefit men at the expense of women, is what they learn in school about themselves. They learn that the future is female. Now, how do you feel if you're growing up male and you're learning that the future is female?
The future is female. For those Star Wars fans out there, do you guys know how what the Star Wars version of that is? The future is female. What thing did Kathleen Kennedy create for Star Wars? I'll just give a few seconds, and I'll spill it myself. What's the Star Wars version of the future is female? Going once, going twice. The Force is female. Okay, so they're indoctrinating youngsters, young boys, and girls about patriarchy very, very early on, which I don't think is a good thing. Fair use.
They're learning that masculinity is toxic, and of course, masculinity, parts of it are toxic, just like parts of femininity are toxic. But it's focused on that, and they're learning all these negative things about themselves. And I've heard high school student and college student, one after the other, saying, "It feels to me like I wish I wasn't born male."
Can you imagine, as an educator, having a young student come to you and say they feel bad about the way that they were born? Now, I'm not going to say that this is not something that women faced in the past, because we know that in the past they did deal with, or at least some ladies that maybe wanted to be doctors or something more than the traditional roles, and they met opposition. But going to the other extreme is not a salvation. It's not a fix for trying to overcorrect, right? If you overcorrect, then essentially you're taking the guys that you need to basically build your society and tell them that they're faulty. And
yes, Rocket Money
Hold on.
cancel subscriptions, but it also gives you total control over your finances.
Wait, how?
So do you ever feel like you have no idea where your
there's a price to be paid for that.
So what?
You're taking the guys who you need to build your society, okay, and you're alienating them. Guys, give me 1 second here. I'm going to go and grab another book. Hold on. So if you want to read about Aaron Cleary, I think from an economist's perspective, broke this down really, really well, what each gender contributes to society, and what would happen if there were no men to do the things that men do. And he basically makes the argument that this whole thing would collapse, okay, down on itself. So that's the significance of what Passport OG is talking about now. Okay, what happens when you demonize your builders and your soldiers and your law enforcement and your plumbers and your HVAC guys and your electricians, your garbage men? What happens to your construction workers? What happens when you alienate those guys? If those guys go away, what happens to your society? Let's go back.
Does the data show in terms of why it's so difficult right now for women to quote unquote have it all, and what they can do to hopefully make their lives a little bit more manageable and more enjoyable too?
So once I tell people the stats, it always helps them just feel that sense of relief, because what has happened is gender roles have converged in the workplace, but they haven't converged at home. So women are stepping up. Our careers are ever more demanding at work, but at home, men actually do the same amount of housework that they did in the 1970s.
What are the consequences? So we've talked about where the boy crisis came from.
Yes.
But what are the consequences for civil society? Obviously, the family's broken, but
what are the consequences for civil society? Salute to these guys for asking this question. Very use.
Build it out.
Yes. Well, Jerome Powell put his fingers on one of them on 60 Minutes about 2018. And he said that one of the consequences, he said that the second biggest threat to our economic security is the problems that boys are going through.
If you've worked with data points in the past, you know that there are ways that you can manipulate your data, especially if it's coming from real world situations, to substantiate your point. And one of the things that happens in this internet era is that when we have a point of view, we can simply just go find data that supports our point of view. And so this is a Wharton professor essentially saying that in 55 years, men have not picked up a wash towel and are essentially acting the same way as men did in the 1970s. I find that very hard to believe, but if she runs a study that tends toward that, then she's going to be able to use that, and then young ladies going to hear that information, and they're going to say men haven't evolved in 60 years.
So guys, which former first lady and her brother went on their podcast and talked about what their dad didn't do around the house when he got home from work? Which former first lady and her brother got on their podcast and talked about what their dad didn't do, and how wrong their dad was for coming home and just putting his feet up? Which former first lady?
And then you have Jerome Powell, who's looking at different data sets of numbers. And although these numbers may not be directly in conflict with each other, I have to go with Jerome Powell, because you don't get to where he got to if you don't know how to play with numbers that you like and don't like.
Because boys are crucial to being able to build a strong society, to be able to build a strong economy. They're the ones much more likely to go to war. In the United States, they're the only ones that are required to register for the draft at age 18. And so if we lose them, and we lose boys being effective, they're not going to be able to build good AI. They're not going to be able to, to participate when we need them in these types of activities. And so he said this was the second biggest cause of worrying about our future in terms of defense and economic growth.
This is the
defense and economic growth. Sorry, Passport OG, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But yeah, guys, yeah, it was Michelle. It was Michelle Obama. Reynold says Michelle all day complaining. Michelle and Craig. All right, here we go. Bring that back so Passport OG can get his full words in there.
Of worrying about our future in terms of defense and economic growth.
This is the unfortunate part that comes with modern feminism, because it seems as if some feminists believe that this is a zero-sum game and that men have to lose in order for women to win. But the truth is, if men lose, we're all going to lose. That's just the way it works, because men aren't going to build anything. Our infrastructure is going to crumble. The innovation that's going to be necessary to be competitive in the next few decades is not going to be there. And you're basically going to have young ladies looking around saying, you guys are losers. Why didn't you do anything? But then you had the same young people growing up in school basically thinking that they're defective because they are what they are as boys. Lose.
Don't compromise quality insurance for savings or your time for this ad. Hit that skip button. Or
somebody's got to fix this.
And he was very much a believer in what I was coming to believe in at that point in time, which was that there was that the feminist movement had really gone too far, and that the demonizing of men was not healthy for anybody, and that the family was really important. And it is, the family is really the one of the single. You have a strong family, and you have faith, you're going to have much less need for government.
Yeah, I start the book by saying in 2017, I gave birth to my son, but also a midlife crisis, because a lot of the things that I thought were going to be true in my life, that I thought if I worked hard enough, I could have equality with men in my career, or I could have equality with my husband at home, they weren't true in reality.
There's been no gratitude among feminists toward men, and that lack of gratitude has sunk into the culture to such a degree that when on TikTok recently, there was a comment saying that that men commit suicide 4 times as often as women do. And the response of somebody there was the rate should be higher and for men committing suicide. And 7,000 people liked that with a heart.
Yeah.
I think we should listen to that part again. Okay, over on TikTok. Well, let's listen to that again. I think that's very telling.
And that lack of gratitude has sunk into the culture to such a degree that when on TikTok recently, there was a comment saying that that men commit suicide 4 times as often as women do. And the response of somebody there was the rate should be higher and for men committing suicide. And 7,000 people liked that with a heart.
Yeah.
And so when that type of attitude on just one social media post comes across in those types of numbers, we know we're in a sick place.
B.J. Ibmore often speaks of the point that you're going to hear Warren Farrell speak on in a moment, in that it's the environment that's shaping all of this. If you're a young woman and you have a decent job, you have your apartment, you have your cat or dog, you are basically only needing to date across and up. And if you are a high achiever like the Wharton professor, she's saying she wants a co-CEO. She doesn't want a stay-at-home husband. She wants to marry across and up. And if she can't have that, then she'll have a relationship with a woman, I suppose. But in a society, well, the ones that are quite advanced, if half of those good jobs are going to women, then she's essentially saying that half of the men in that society, or any man in that society below her, is unnecessary in her life, which in a way is not really equality, is it? Because if you're not going to marry down, then you're just going to have a group of women that just simply look down on more and more men, something that we've come to understand.
We got
Shout out to Mr. Z. Passport OG often samples Mr. Z's content. He has a drop of a CEO. I can't think of the woman's name, but she basically asserts what Passport OG just talked about, which is that, you know, the jobs, the economy, the per capita, it's finite. So if you have more women moving into these roles, they're not going to find as many high, quote unquote, high achieving men like them. And so they may have to take a man who's willing to stay at home and take care of the family, and a man who makes less money. Okay. And that's going to require changing and accepting a different concept of what a husband and a father is. So there's a huge cluster that's going on right now in terms of what a husband is, what a wife is, what a family is, and what's acceptable. Okay. Fair use.
We got to figure out this new world where we have abundance that is so radically different than the entire history of the human species.
Yes, that's exactly the big. You separate this issue as an issue in societies that are in the developed world and that are the middle to upper middle class in the developed world. It's because it's the difference happens when survival is no longer the controlling issues. Feminists say, oh, the world was controlled by patriarchy. No, it wasn't controlled by patriarchy. It was controlled by the need to survive. In order to survive, both men and women did not have rights. You never heard our grandparents talking about rights, women or men. They had two things, responsibilities and obligations.
It's a very good but simple point that he makes here, that when we speak of our grandparents, they were closer to the we have to do what we have to survive than to the I want a certain lifestyle. And so when you hear young ladies talking about lifestyle and I need a man that can take me around the world or buy me X carat ring, we're far removed from survival. And so in that environment, what are average guys to do? They just don't bother with going on dating apps, don't try to ask young ladies out, because the average young lady is asking for more than men have ever been expected to provide before. Before, providing was, here's a house, I will keep you safe in the house, and I'll make sure there's food on the table and perhaps a car to drive. And with all of that, you're going to get protection. And for your end of the bargain, you know your social roles because they're quite defined. Now we've ripped all of that up. And we're trying to figure out, well, what do we do now? Well, the truth of the matter is, if you listen to Dr. Warren Farrell, feminism has simply gone too far, because now they're rejecting men in the places that they would have been in, where he stayed at home and took care of kids. And now young ladies are simply saying, if I can't get a rich man, then you're not worth my time at all. And you can't build any kind of healthy society on that. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.
All right. So as I always do, salute the Passport OG for another masterpiece. And so I at the beginning of the stream, I described that I'm going on to take care of some family business this weekend involving my father. And when you talk to that boomer generation, that Black boomer generation, unless you're talking to the master teacher or Black guru strikes, you start talking about feminism and what it is and what it's done. You get these blank stares like what is that? And what does that have to do with anything? So salute to Passport OG for taking that snapshot. Salute to Dr. Warren Farrell. Salute to Dr. Tiazan Johnson, for everybody who's shining the light on what this is. Passport OG, you normally come up and give a few words after I show one of your works. If you're still there and you want to come up and give the benediction, as Mr. Z says, Google Chrome decided it wanted to do that right now. StreamYard link is there. That's for Passport OG. Okay. No Facebook. Compassionate and Callous. Oh, we got someone from the Church of Mr. Z here. Compassionate and Callous. Thank you for stopping through. Reynolds says those high responses probably come from the 80% overweight group of females. If they don't like themselves, how can they like others? Yeah, you hear. Speaking of the Church of Mr. Z, yeah, you do hear a lot of reckless things over on TikTok, and I'm thinking about the woman who looks like Don DC Curry, the comedian Don DC Curry. She would very much, Reynolds, fall under that particular cohort there. I think Passport OG, yeah, he might have gone. He's a busy man. There are other streams going on in the YouTube streets, but much the same way, guys. When you're talking to the elder generation, they don't know that a lot of this stuff is going on. They see things are kind of spinning out of control. They don't know why. Shout out to my Uncle Ice in my community tab. You can see the comment. He asked, I posted the picture of Jeff St. James there to make the announcement that I have Jeff coming in 3 weeks. And he says, forgive me, I don't know who this person is. I have no idea who this person is. Okay. So there's a disconnect between what's happening on the ground in the real world versus what they know. I don't know if Passport OG is going to come up, but speaking of Jeff St. James and the time we have left, I'm not going to go much longer because I want to eat before it gets too late. I'm all about the personal health. Jeff posted something interesting on his Instagram. I follow Jeff on Instagram, and I'm going to show it here because I think it really, it's going to set the stage for his appearance here. And I think it relates to this. Let me find the search tool. Okay. Ask a Brother podcast. Okay. And we've talked about George Fraser over here before. And I think George Fraser is kind of becoming a little bit red pilled right now. He's starting to see what's really going on and what's really happening regarding the crisis of the Black family and saving the Black community. But I think George Fraser is starting to see what's happening. So this is from Jeff's Instagram page. Jeff, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but you'll be here in 3 weeks chatting it up with me. And keep in mind, everyone, those discussions with Dr. Ronald Neal, and Jeff St. James, those will be on Sunday afternoon. So I'm going to overlap with Mr. Z a little bit, but those will be on Sunday afternoon, not tonight. So both of those will be on Sunday afternoon at 3:30. But this is just to wrap this up. I think Passport OG, I think he left. So even George Fraser is starting to see what's going on. Fair use, fair use.
On facts and statistics that our women, Black women in America, would rather have a baby than to be a wife. There is no culture in the history of humankind that has maximized its full human potential without family being at the center of that culture. The only place that this exists, this existential problem exists, is among African American Black people. So this is a problem unique to Black folks in America. It is not what you will see on the continent in Africa. It is not what you see throughout the diaspora wherever we have been dispersed. It is unique to us. The institute of marriage in our culture is at an all-time low. When I was a kid in the 50s and 60s, marriage rate was 85%. Today, marriage rate in the Black culture is 34%. And based on all facts, statistics, and trajectories and research, if nothing changes, if we don't fix it, within a generation, it will be in the low teens. That's terrible. 34%. 7. It appears to me, based on facts and statistics, that our women, Black women in America, would rather have a baby than to be a wife. There is no culture in the history of humanity.
Okay, I think that's a good stopping point. If you want to follow Jeff over on Instagram, look up Ask Your Brother Podcast. And Jeff is coming here to talk to me. We're going to chop it up on October 29th. Speaking of which, he just talked about the marriage rates, the Black marriage rates. Dr. Ron O'Neill touches upon that in this book. We're going to talk about that when he comes, and actually the formation of a bifurcation between the genders, and what that bifurcation is, and who caused it, and why it's here, and why it's grown. So all of these things are interrelated. Anyhow, guys, I have to go. Have dinner before it's too late. You don't want to eat your dinner within an hour of laying down. I'm all about the health right now. So guys, no live stream. Probably no live stream next Monday. I'll be getting ready for Dr. Neil and Jeff, and I'll be coming back from taking care of that family business. So probably no live stream next Monday. Oh, Just Jules. Thank you for this $10 super chat. He says, catch you on the replays. Doc, busy working. Let's end 2025 with a bang. Jules, absolutely. I'm gonna, on my list of things to do is to check you out and your cloud engineering, and let's definitely link up. And thank you for this $10 super chat, everybody. I very much appreciate that. All right, everybody. I mentioned Dr. Neil's book. We're going to talk about this. I have my own book. It's a basketball story, but it includes a lot of the themes that we talked about. Changed environments. This is very much a boyhood and a manhood journey, and it's about one of the main themes is changed environments, and as a young man, having to make the best of what you have, even when you don't have all the tools you need in your toolbox. As Black boys, that's our story. Okay. Depending upon the house you come from, a lot of us grew up that way. So the paperback, I'm selling this to you guys, my YouTube subs, for $22, and I'm selling the hardcover for $25. That includes shipping and handling. Just use one of those methods in the payment, and the ticker right there. Or you can also go to my website if you want to use a credit card, and I can send you a coupon code. A coupon code. This is my online store here. This is my online store here. There's the pretty cover of my book. But if you want to purchase a copy from here, the full price is the price reflected on Amazon, $35 for the hardcover and $27 for the paperback. If you want to use your credit card and buy one from me signed, I can create a coupon code for you and discount that for you. Just let me know. The link is here. Okay. If you want to get it on Amazon and you have points, you can probably get it for free or get the price knocked all the way down. It's up to you. But any support is greatly appreciated. Anyway, everybody, look who just came in who just came in the chat here. Our Jersey Lioness. How you doing, Trust? Thank you for stopping through. I did another Passport OG special. He ran off because he didn't hit my link. So he's running off studying, I think, Japanese or Chinese, or whatever he does. Maybe working on the next masterpiece. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go eat. Thank you all for the support. And remember, Dr. Ronald Neal on October 19th, and then October 29th. October 26th, I'm losing my ability to do math. I'm a scientist, and I can't do math. October 19th, Dr. Neal. October 26th, Jeff St. James. Compassionate and Callous. Oh, he says, I'm going to buy your book Friday for sure. Thank you, Compassionate and Callous. I appreciate that. And thank you, Trust, for that salute from the Jersey Lioness. All right, everybody. Hey, lovely Trust. No tofu tonight. Salmon, rice, and green beans. No tofu. That's an inside joke between me and Trust. All right, everybody. Have a good night. I'll see you on the YouTube streets. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on the replay, gang, please like, share, and subscribe. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I'll talk to you the next time. Actually, Trust, my go-to is salmon, baked salmon, yellow rice, and steamed green beans. The tofu, that's a stopgap meal sometimes, but I can't eat that all the time. Anyway, everybody, have a good night. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.